Nice shady.
That's so funny.
Oh,
That'd
here we
be a
get
really
cutscene.
oh, cutscene. Let me be quiet for the cutscene. Oh, you can hear the cicadas, so it's definitely Japan.
Standing here in the bright sunshine, looking out over the vast ocean. Those days in London seem like a dream. But I do miss my time in England's vast capital. You know, he's flourished into a truly wonderful lawyer. I've no
I
doubt
barely.
that at this very moment, he's fighting some noble cause in court.
I didn't even realize who this was.
Forgive me for taking so long to come to visit you. My life has been such a whirlwind since I returned. And no one could have predicted what has happened. Just 2 months after arriving home.
I find myself faced with another awful crime.
Oh. Oh.
So I came here today to ask something of you. Tomorrow, I shall be standing in court. For the only time in my life. As a lawyer.
What?
The first case of Great Ace Attorney 2,
So please,
Susato will be voiced by me.
ask for your guidance.
As per the laws.
I mean, that's how we've divvied up our voices. You voice the lawyers.
Oh god, here. It's our Discord issues. There we go.
Oh, this is. It's gonna be really difficult for me emotionally.
Supreme Court of Judicature. Defendants Antechamber 3.
Ooh.
Here I am again after 9 months. The Supreme Court of Judicature of Japan. What?
That sounds just like me. Go ahead.
I'm not even trying to do you, okay? I thought about it, and you know what? I'll just do my own Susato voice. I feel so nervous, but I must steel my nerves and find a way to compose myself. Here you are!
Oh, I can't with this game already. How did you do it?
I don't even know. I barely did it. You're gonna be doing more lines with him than I ever did with him, so.
Good. You're here. It doesn't do good for a lawyer to be late.
Oh, yes, good morning, sir.
Oh, God. This is like mildly uncomfortable that you're voicing female characters and I'm voicing male ones.
Welcome to Great Ace Attorney 2, everybody.
Oh, no. I hardly recognized you. You cut a fine figure, counsel.
Also, love how for him it says Mikatoba, even though she's also Mikatoba.
Listen, there can only be one. But you look as white as a sheet, and those wide eyes aren't doing you any favors either.
Oh dear. The truth is, I'm so incredibly nervous I feel utterly nauseated. I almost wish that I'd never been born.
Oh, God. Goodness. Not the sort of thing a father hopes to hear from his daughter, I must say. Not the sort of thing.
Eugene Mikatoba, professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University. A man who, earlier in his life, traveled to Great Britain to study the latest advances in forensic medical science. And of course, my brilliant father.
Brilliant.
This is also you, but this is female.
Oh God. Um, excuse me. Oh, that's fine. That's a fine voice. Would I be correct in thinking that you ought to be my lawyer in court today?
Oh, yes. Yes, that's right, miss.
Give me a second, sorry.
No worries.
Well, I want to thank you for agreeing to represent me. I swear on my life. It's a complete fabrication, the whole thing. This whole thing.
Ray Membami. Born the same year as I, and my greatest friend.
Oh no!
Though unusual for a woman in our time, she works at the university research laboratory, helping my father. And sadly, she's the defendant in today's trial. Accused of committing a truly awful murder. Is there good murders? Are you feeling alright? Since we started talking, you seem... well, to have become a little flushed.
Oh my, it's just that... You look so gallant and dashing.
Sorry?
And when I fall under your intense gaze, it makes me feel rather bashful.
Goodness. I don't think she knows.
She
hasn't realized who I am. What?
I'm gonna give her an uwu voice.
Oh no.
It will seem a little... Sorry, I can't. That's Sholmes. I can't do Sholmes.
No, your Sholmes is in this game.
I know. It's just, it's so easy to fall into it. It would seem a little path for this trial is going to work. A little plan.
Oh, what do you mean, Professor Mikatoba?
Even if your best friend can't see through the disguise, I think we can relax.
Well, if even.
If even.
Disguise?
Yes, I've never tried dressing this way before, of course, so I wasn't sure how convincing it would be. But this does make me feel a little relieved, as you say, Father.
Father? What? Is that you, Susato?
I'm so sorry I didn't say anything sooner, Ray. It's just that...
No, what are you doing? What's going on? Wait. The varsity uniform, that varsity cap, that varsity cape, that varsity badge. But look at you. You look for all the world just like a student of the Imperial University. A male student.
I considered doing a male voice, but I decided she's not using the male voice yet, because... because it would have given it away.
Susato. Ah.
I'm so glad you think so.
That makes sense, because women can't be lawyers.
The women can't even be in the courtroom, unless they're like the defendant or like a witness.
Mm.
It means all my preparations have been worthwhile. I woke at 4 this morning to make a start.
But I don't understand why you dress like that.
Well, you see...
It was the only way. The only way she'd be permitted to the Supreme Court to take on your defense in this trial.
My defense?
Never before in my life have I felt so frustrated at having been born into this body. Courts in Japan are barred to women. We're not even allowed to set foot inside the courtroom.
So that's what she said, she wasn't born. She wished she hadn't been born.
Despite the fact the laws of the land apply to all people, male and female alike. Also, I don't want it to go unnoticed that, like, Ray was, like, completely crushing on Susato a second ago.
Yeah, she was.
I'm not so sure that she's at least that she's a straight woman.
Listen, in front of that piercing gaze, it'll make everyone bashful.
But forbidden.
Just for today, I'll be leaving my true self at the courtroom door, so that I can act as your lawyer.
I'll chime in.
Oh, Susato. You'd go to such lengths for me.
Of course, you're my greatest friend. I just worry that I shan't be the lawyer you deserve.
Oh no, I have complete faith in you.
Ray,
It's so strange, though. I mean, you're such an accomplished judicial assistant already. And yet just because you're a woman, for the wretched reason. I mean, why shouldn't you be allowed in court? You're so gallant and dashing.
see, even knowing that it's this woman, she's still
She's still
swooning.
She's still thirsty.
Ray, please don't look at me like that with those flushed cheeks and doting eyes.
Oh, I'm sorry, you really do look so dashing.
Yes, you mentioned that once or twice.
Lesbianism. You should be pleased. It means you look convincing as a man.
Unfortunately, I don't think Susato feels the same. I am pleased, I think. Certainly helped bolster my confidence today.
I'm
Or maybe.
so excited.
Maybe she does, I don't know.
I can't wait to see
Ray,
Susato in drag.
you're managing to put on a brave face in all this, but I can see through it. I've noticed how your shoulders are slumped and how you're trembling ever so slightly.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Susato, you do believe me, don't you? I didn't do it. I killed you. I mean, murder.
Of course. You have nothing to worry about. Your conscience is perfectly clean. Isn't that right?
Yes, it is. Perfectly clean. Simple and clean.
I've absolutely no doubt in my mind about your innocence, which is why I'll stand by you until the bitter end in this trial. Whatever happens, I'll always be on your side. Because that's what it means to be a defense lawyer.
Ew.
That means so much to me, Susato.
Defendant, counsel! Court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once.
Oh gosh, please let the judge be a woman in drag. Everybody's a woman in drag. You should go in at once, Ray.
Just the entire courtroom, everybody's like
Yeah.
trying to hide that they're a woman and be like, wait, there's not even a man in here.
Ouchie.
Who are we trying to
fool? If you're late, the judge won't hesitate to pronounce you guilty.
Oh. Stand aside!
I don't think I've ever seen her run so fast.
Well, Susato, you've clearly surprised your father. And going to such lengths to be admitted into the courtroom with no prior experience of being a lawyer.
There's simply no other way. That's all there is to it. But Father, you haven't told her, have you? I mean, I'm right in assuming that Ray doesn't know how it came to this.
Yes, quite right. I've kept that information from her. It would only worry her if she found out that no other lawyer would agree to take her case. I didn't want to burden her with that.
And is it true, the reason why every other lawyer is refusing to take the case? Is it really because of who the victim was?
We should be making a move now, too. As you know, law isn't my field, but I'll do what I can to support my student.
Thank you, Father. I'm Susato Mikotoba, a judicial assistant. 8 months ago, I accompanied a student of law on a study trip to Great Britain. But 2 months ago, due to unforeseen circumstances, I found myself back in Japan.
Oh,
How many times have I wished that you were here, I wonder. Still, I have no choice now but to steel myself for the trial ahead.
Yeah, wasn't her dad, like, sick?
That's why she had to come back, because he was, like, deathly sick.
He doesn't look very deathly sick.
Wish me luck, Naruto-san. That was 2 months ago.
I mean, I feel like deathly sick. I feel like it takes a little more than 2 months for you to get better. I feel like it was just plot. See, if I knew how to do any other character,
This court is now in session to hear the trial of Mamoni.
ugh, this is not a good look for you.
Ahem. The prosecution is fully ready to proceed, Your Excellency.
What's not a good look?
It's just Ouchie's new style after Kazuma cut it off.
He's doing his best.
Oh,
Defense counsel, are you ready?
yes, Your Excellency, we're ready.
Ready? Ready! Yes, counsel. According to your registration details, your name is, Ryotaro no Hodo. Is that correct? Sorry?
Oh, yes, I had to come up with a suitable male name for you in this adventure. So I'm afraid I simply had to put down the first name that I sprung to mind.
Well, counsel. Yes, that's right. That's me. Yes, I am Ryotaro, who has vowed to uphold the pride of the great Naruto clan.
It seems Ryotaro may need to consider how better to uphold his manly act first, and not overdo it.
Shady says she has the same freak out on animation as Ryu. Yeah.
And those wild white eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Just relax and listen.
Naruto? A fresh face in this courtroom, if I'm not mistaken. But the name, Naruto, would that perchance be?
You may be thinking of Ryonosuke Naruto, currently in Britain as part of a study program. This is, his cousin. Oh, that's you.
His cousin.
That's right. Ryotaro here has been studying in the provinces, but was called to the capital for this trial. I assure you, in matters of law, his knowledge rivals that of any Tokyo preeminent lawyers.
Any of them.
Tut, tut, tut. What a pitiful situation. Having been rejected by every lawyer in the capital, the accusers had to call in a country boy. How dare you! Susato is every bit of gallant and dashing as any of your Tokyo attorneys. I won't have you making fun of her. Huh?
Please be careful. Please be careful, Rai. Rai. God, I'm gonna have to use 2 voices. Figure out one to use which.
2 voices for one character. That's rough.
I committed to it.
What an unrefined tomboy we have here. But I wonder, is your gallant and dashing lawyer up to the challenge of defending you? His wide, skittish eyes very much suggest that he is not.
Ugh. I'm so nervous. Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand why Naruto-san goes... what Naruto-san goes through. Like it or not, her eyes are want to flit.
I'm getting real Elmo and real the seller from the Star Fox game about the dinosaurs. Like I'm like slowly edging closer and closer to
pay this much.
You don't play this much.
No.
That's too low.
I'll sell it at a high price. Oh, that's the wrong one.
The case to be heard on this day is a matter of great significance to our national interests. In fact, it would be reasonable to assume that the outcome of this trial may well affect the very future of our empire.
Oh, I got one more.
Okay, I'll sell it to you. Just like the trial 9 months ago.
Wait,
I'm
is
not doing the
kid
surgeon voice, Shady, unless I absolutely have to. So
What's that reference? Is that a reference to the?
I think it's just saying, like, because he said that's too low, and it's talking about the surgeon voice.
Oh,
And yet, for proceedings of such importance, we have this unknown yokel by the dock? Dear me.
Perhaps this would be an appropriate moment for me to assess the defense, to determine whether you are sufficiently competent to practice in this courtroom.
9 months ago, when a certain other Naruto stood where you're standing now. 9 months ago. The same judge tested him as well. And even though he was just a student at the time, not even a flaw, he passed the test with flying colors. For a trained and experienced judicial assistant like you, this will be easy.
So, counsel, do you consent to answering some simple questions?
Oh,
Alright, it's time to prove myself.
is nobody gonna...
What? Yes, Your Excellency. But please do make them simple. Is nobody gonna what?
It's okay. I didn't... I feel like Susato could have done a little bit of a better job binding, but that's neither here nor there. We don't have to talk about it.
Binding? Oh.
They're
Yeah. No.
Very well, to start with, you would state the name of the victim.
Phew, it is that simple. I couldn't forget that if I tried.
I mean, I could tell you the name of the victim right now. What's the matter?
Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand something else Naruto-san goes through. Like it or not, minds are want to blank.
Eyes are wont to flit, and minds are wont to blank. It's not surprising, really. It's your first time in this position and in that guise. Even the bright spark like you is bound to flicker and falter a little under these circumstances.
Oh dear, this is a dismal failure.
Don't fret. You need only use the knowledge you've gained as a judicial assistant to overcome the problem.
Of course, the court record. Yes, the answer will be amongst all the key information about the case, the court record.
That's right. Use the thing to open the court records.
Do you mean the red bumper?
Oh,
it won't even let me do it yet.
I don't think right bumpers have been invented yet, Susato. You need to flip to the people section with this right bumper that you speak of. And don't take too long over it. His Excellency's watching you closely.
Imagine if everything was timed in these games.
I was gonna say that. That would make this so much more stressful if it was actually timed.
Alright, check the court record with right bumper. That's where the information I need will be. Postmortem death.
Victim, just a breath, a single deep stab from behind, piercing along and resulting in fatal hemorrhage. Death would have occurred within minutes. Extreme meiosis, pupil constriction was observed in the victim's both eyes. That's going to be relevant.
Yeah.
I'm waiting, counsel. What is the name of the victim in this case?
If we want an achievement, we have to click all the wrong answers first.
Let's do it. I say Takatsuchi Ouchi!
The victim in this case, yes, Prosecutor Takatsuchi Ouchi. What?
Why is it a traffic crash? Yes, are you ready to kill me?
He seems angry.
And you're surprised. Did you consult the court records? You must look through it carefully.
Oh yes, I did, of course. I looked at everyone on file. Yet I chose the person whose features appeared to be the most deathly.
I must say, this is most unusual methodology of yours. Leaves me almost speechless. It occurs to me with renewed certainty that reading the information carefully is of vital importance. I strongly recommend it.
Oh dear, I simply can't ignore that employing luck. Your Excellency, please allow me to amend my answer. Very well, I will excuse this incorrect response given by your wide state of panic. What is the name of the victim in this case?
Eugene Mikotoba. My own father.
The victim in this case is none other than Professor Eugene Mikotoba. What?
Well, to be written off by one's own child.
Father, you seem suddenly so much older and wearier than you were moments ago.
Because of you, clearly. The judge is asking for the victim's name, the person who was killed in this case. Look through the information in the court records again, carefully, before you kill me for mercy's sake.
Oh dear, I simply can't ignore that. I can't ignore that disproving look. Father Frustrator.
Frustrator!
Achievement. Okay. This is same text. Okay.
What is the name of the victim? Giselle Brett.
The name of the victim who lost her life in this case is Miss Giselle Brett.
Giselle Brett.
A name that will never be forgotten in the courtrooms of our country, I'm sure.
Correct. And being a member of our empire's judiciary, you will be well aware of the significance of that name. So, let me pose another simple question. As you know, Miss Brett was a visiting student from the Empire of Great Britain. Why then is her name indelibly associated with our own empire's judicial history?
Obviously, you won't have forgotten the case from 9 months ago. But if it's proving hard to recall the finer points, everything you need is included in the court records.
Obviously, I still remember. That was the start of everything. Giselle Brett. Behind the woman's student persona was the face of...
A killer.
We can do it if you want to.
Oh, is
Did I
a
kill
killer not the right answer?
No, killer's the right answer. But I wasn't sure if you wanted to do something else.
Yeah, the face of Queen Victoria.
Should we?
The Queen. The Queen. Yeah.
Queen Victoria, obviously. Obviously not.
The Queen of England studying overseas.
I thought it sounded a little odd.
Leave me out of this. I'm sure you know all the details in the case in question from 9 months ago.
Oh yes, how could I forget? I know every last detail about it.
What? We can't hear you.
Then what on earth was that absurd answer you just gave? I'm speechless.
No more absurdity, please, Counsel. You amend your answer. Yes, of course, Your Excellency. Do they both have to call my answer absurd?
Behind the woman student's persona was a face of
A killer.
9 months ago, a visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yuma University was killed. And the culprit was Giselle Brett.
Wah, 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 wah. Yes, she was a killer. She was a killer. At the time, my country had just signed a new treaty with the Empire of Great Britain. And it was in the midst of this delicate diplomatic situation that the incident occurred.
I think that's actually her speaking, but
Oh,
I think that's female little tech sounds.
yeah, go ahead.
An Englishwoman, Dr. John H. Wilson, was shot dead. I believe he was an associate of yours, Mr. Picatoba?
Yeah, that would have been very obvious that it wasn't him. Yes, Mikatoba, it was. Thank you, Mikatoba. Yes, I was indebted to the man. He'd been my mentor when I went to London to study forensic medicine. Indeed, it was I who invited him here to Japan as a visiting professor at the university. Naturally, the murder of an Englishman on our soil was a matter of the government wished to resolve rapidly.
Indeed it was, which is why a secret trial was conducted here at the Supreme Court.
A student of the Imperial Yuma University. Was that? No, I think that's a judge.
A student of the Imperial Yuma University was arrested on suspicion of murder. Second-year English language student by the name of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. With the help of his best friend.
Is it him? No, I don't think a judge would say that. With the help of his best friend, the student lawyer, the accused
so
conducted his
funny.
own defense. It exposed the despicable crime committed by Miss Giselle Brett.
Miss Brett eventually admitted to her crime. However, when questioned about the motive that drove her to take Dr. Wilson's life, she gave no satisfactory answer before the trial reached its conclusion.
Immediately after the trial, the British government brought its consular jurisdiction into play. We were unable to sentence Miss Brett according to our empire's laws. It was decided that she would be removed to Shanghai, China instead.
Why Shanghai?
There's a British consulate court there.
Correct. I oversaw the negotiations personally. The date of her transfer to Shanghai was finally settled upon only last week. All that remained of our empire's obligations was to see the woman safely on board a steamship.
And yet, the very day before her departure, the Englishwoman was killed.
Only the day before?
That will do. I'm satisfied that the counsel for the defense is sufficiently capable of representing the defendant.
Oh. Thank you, Your Excellency. Over the first hurdle?
Now, a summary of the incident, if you please. Prosecutor Ouchie.
What? As you wish, Your Excellency.
Have I ever shown you guys my Funko Pop collection?
I don't recall.
I got Norval and Daggett from Angry Beavers. That's it.
The
That's my
best
collection.
characters in Nicktoons All-Star Brawl.
Are they in Nicktoons All-Star Brawl?
I don't think so.
Unfortunate. DLC. My boy Norbert and Daggett.
The Republic War took place on the 11th of August in broad daylight.
No, that's pretty.
What a great place to die. Listen, do you want to die in an ugly place or a pretty place?
Oh man, I think that's gonna have to be my one. If you'd like to die in an ugly place, Press 1. If you'd like to die in a pretty place, press 2. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And hit the notification bell to keep up to date. On
the outskirts of the Imperial capital, under a bright blue sky, on a secluded bathing spot by the sea. The incident occurred inside a small beach hut erected for bathers to rest and change their clothes. The cause of death was a single stab wound to the posterior abdomen that pierced the victim's lung. An injury which proved fatal.
Yeah, usually stabbing into somebody's lung is pretty fatal.
That's rough. It's also very painful.
That's rough,
I'm
buddy.
sure. That's rough, buddy. Your girlfriend turned into the moon.
There were 2 persons alone together in the beach hut at the time of the victim's death.
I don't know why I'm using that intonation, but I am.
Miss Breathitt in bathing attire and the accused, Raymond Balmy. Accordingly, there can be no such doubt of the accused's guilt, especially when we consider she had a powerful motive. The police arrived rapidly at the scene and promptly arrested the young lady. Wah.
Well, that extraordinary description of events leaves me somewhat lost for words, I must say.
It's certainly true. The prosecution summary was full of words that raised an awful lot of questions. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel and what he said about
The powerful motive.
powerful motive.
I don't want to talk about Ouchie, like thinking about 2 girls bathing together. Ugh.
You're clearly exaggerating. Powerful motive is a blatant overstatement.
It's canon that she has to say the lines a couple of times to get the right male intonation.
And they're just like trying to ignore it. They actually all know. They can tell, and they're just like, let's just go along with it. Don't want to deal with the paperwork.
Tut, tut, tut. Is the yokel boy using long words he doesn't fully understand?
I beg your pardon?
No matter. Let's put this to the accused, shall we? Membami-san, you're a research assistant at the Imperial Yume University, I believe.
Yes, I am. I was working with Professor Mikatoba at his laboratory at the time.
It's not. Yeah, that wasn't an alibi.
I'm working with the professor at the moment.
I can confirm that. The defendant is an excellent assistant with a strong sense of responsibility.
Fascinating to hear. Now, another question. Prior to your work with Professor Mikatoba, whose research were you assisting then?
Oh, I was studying under George Wilson.
Dr. Wilson, the visiting English professor who was murdered by Miss Brett 9 months ago.
Whisper.
The accused had a deep-seated respect for her former mentor, Dr. Wilson. Is that not true?
Yes, Dr. Wilson was a wonderful man.
Interesting. To tell the court what deep-seated feelings he had toward the Englishwoman who killed him.
Where honestly I was filled with hatred of what she had done, a powerful hatred.
Oh no, Ray, be careful of what you're saying.
The motive was revenge. Plain and simple, Your Excellency.
Well, it was clearly a trap all along.
How wicked of him to use I don't know what voice she is when she's talking at me.
How wicked of him to use Ray's undying respect for her former mentor against her like that.
Let's find out more details, something we can use to bolster our defense. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up on the prosecution counsel on what you said about...
Oh, no. Let's just get over with being alone together.
Ah, yes, I was waiting for you to ask me about that.
Membami-san.
Oh, thank God.
Yes, what is this? I mean, Naruhama-san.
I'm really starting to wish we'd made my alias Ryotaro Susato. Please tell the court why you were present at the bathing spot with the victim in the first place. And why you were alone with her. Oh yeah, we haven't gone into any names yet. Ryotaro. Ryotaro Naruhodo.
So, the Ryu's dragon, Taro is a very common ending to boy names. It makes it very masculine. And then Naruhodo obviously is I understand, or I see now.
Yeah, perfectly, other than the fact that also it's Ryunosuke Naruhodo's name, but...
Well, yeah. Yeah.
And
but, like, did you know that? The Taro is supposed to be like a very
oh, yeah, no, I know that.
Oh, good.
You otherwise got it exactly. And what about Ray Mabani?
So Mambami is clearly an allusion to embalming, which is the process in which you put chemicals inside of people to preserve them for long extended periods of time. It's a very common practice, relatively recent in our history as human beings. I'm gonna 100% lock it in. You don't have to tell the viewers that it's something else because I know I'm right. So next.
It's actually a play on Remember Me.
Fine. Remember me.
I think everything else's names we're familiar with.
Yeah. Remember me.
Did I read the previous line?
Membami's definitely
Please
not.
tell the court exactly why you were present. Why exactly you're present at the bathing spot with the victim in the first place, and why you're alone with her. Ray?
Oh.
Oh, well, yeah, that's not true. It wasn't anything like that. At all. There were other people present. The detective who was guarding his breath for stardust. I was just asked to accompany Miss Breath's companion, that's all.
But let us be clear. At the moment of her death, you were alone together with the victim in the hut. You and no one else. The truth is, there is only one reason why these young women accompany Miss Brett in their bathing sojourn. It was the accused's last chance to take the victim's life.
No!
Because, as we know, the following day would see Miss Brett extradited to the British authorities in Shanghai. And the accused would never have the opportunity to dispatch her again.
Kindly refrain from conjecture, counsel.
The prosecution counsel seems to be enjoying using provocative tricks like that. But for now, at least, we need to assemble more facts. Try not to let him go, Jill.
Oh dear, this is really terrifying. Father's right. We need more information. The lawyer really ought to pick up on the prosecution counsel what he said about.
You have to do all three of them?
Yeah, you need to get all the information.
Oh, the bathing spot. Oh.
If I may, Prosecutor Hauchi.
What do you want, you fresh-faced young Yoko student?
I wonder, could you explain, please,
You mentioned a bathing spot.
My apologies. Clearly my maternity has confused the poor country bumpkin's simple mind. Bathing spots are the latest trend in health practices from the West. We are told that bathing in the waters of the ocean is curative, therapeutic, and excellent for the skin.
No, that's not what I meant. I was referring to the fact that Miss Brett had, to all intents and purposes, been found guilty of murder. Why would a known criminal have been relaxing by the sea?
For old time's sakes, I believe.
Sorry?
Miss Brett was to depart to Shanghai the following day. Her final wish, as it were, was to enjoy a day on our country's wonderful coast. And the British Embassy put extreme pressures on our government to comply.
But on what grounds would we agree to such a request?
Because, as usual, our government is unable to stand up to foreign powers. In matters of diplomacy, it seems we don't even have the courage to decline the whims of a known criminal.
Don't look at me, Professor! It was the government who granted permission, not I! In any case, it was decided with a dedicated detective on duty, nothing could go wrong.
But in fact, a murder took place.
I said, don't look at me! I was a young student girl who did it, not I!
No one has proved that yet.
I wouldn't provoke the man if you don't need to.
I believe we all have a clear picture of the incident now.
Despite her guilt being determined 9 months ago, Miss Brett managed to avoid incarceration, instead continuing her research work at the university. Obviously, over that period, she and Ray would have encountered each other a number of occasions.
Seeing the murder of the mentor for whom she had such great respect enjoying such undeserved liberty.
Yes, even if it was only temporary until Miss Brett's extradition to Shanghai. You can hardly blame Ray for her feelings of anger and resentment.
Poor Ray.
So, Your Excellency, if you'd be so kind as to peruse this exhibit. A photographic print that shows the scene of the crime immediately following the grim incident.
Yes, thank you, Counsel. A tragic image.
As you can clearly see, there is nowhere within the hut for anyone else could have hid. There's nowhere within the hut could have hidden.
Sometimes does that happen to you viewers? You're reading a line and then you like disassociate and forget what you were even doing. So you have to like come back to reality. It's relatable content.
The judge will accept this photographic print as evidence. Or the court will. The judge will too.
See, that's what happens. I was just literally, I'm like,
You did it to me!
I'm streaming. Like, this is real life right now.
As I understand it then, the victim and the defendant were alone inside the beach hut at the time. This is deeply troubling, I must say. The finger of guilt points firmly at the defendant.
Well, Your Excellency, naturally the prosecution has much more to its case. We intend to prove the accused's appalling actions beyond all possible contention. To that end, I can confirm that we have multiple witnesses to the crime and damning evidence.
Witnesses? But who?
One of whom, I might add, is a highly respected police detective.
You would have thought he'd be dead by now.
Who? How? Where? Why?
Listen, for as much blood as he coughed up the entire time we saw him.
Do you know how much blood the human body makes per, like, minute? Like, 12 gallons a minute.
12
It's
gallons
fact,
a
don't look
minute?
it up.
Okay, I won't. I'll believe you.
I assure you, the testimony of these witnesses will leave no room for doubt.
Look. Very well then, counsel. Bring forth your witnesses.
I, Takasushi Aochi, have been waiting for this moment.
Sorry?
Oh yes, I haven't forgotten that trial 9 months ago, here in this very courthouse. When that irreverent little student boy utterly humiliated.
There's flashback.
Look at his beautiful hair.
Ah! Reno Skinner!
Yes?
His insult to the Aochi family name will never be forgotten.
Oh man, you've become conceited with age, counsel. But the old will have to stand aside and make way for the new. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that. Good job, good job.
Wind cutter.
I love that he let himself grow a little tiny Magatama symbol in just the front of his hair.
Strike the head of a samurai whose top dark has been cut and the bell of cultural enlightenment tolls.
I don't know, is that even a saying? Or did you just come up with it?
Why would that be a saying?
Strike the bell of top. What? Strike the head of a Oh god.
Strike the head of a
Strike the
samurai
head of a
whose
samurai
top knot has
top
been.
knot has been cut, and the
I don't
bell
think that-
culturally enlightenment
No, I don't
toll.
think that's a saying, but I don't know Japanese sayings, but that doesn't sound like a saying.
Yet, and a fateful day, my former self died.
Start of your own mini Meiji revolution. Are you modernizing as well, counsel?
Silence! Since I swore revenge back then, there has been a minor miracle on top of my head. Observe the ouchy growth! You see? This seed of hope sprouting forth from the barren expanse of my crown!
I love how much time we're spending on this.
I think that tiny growth is trying to tell me
Oh, so that's
something.
literally that was canonical. Like that was like relevant to the plot. That he let a little Magatama grow out of his head.
Yeah.
I'm afraid I can't really see. But where is this hope exactly?
I said silence!
Let me close the door.
No, the whole house must hear you say silence
The whole
in that
house
voice.
must hear me be the shrillest I've ever been.
Today, I face another Yoko student of the Naruhodo clan. Well, I will vanquish you. And my victory will be fertilizer for the seed of hope atop my head. You have been warned.
Okay, I gotta go.
With that, the prosecutor calls the witnesses to the stand.
It looks like the stakes are
You
high
could
on
just
both
skip the
sides
door.
of this trial.
Fine, I'm not gonna press A because you're just gonna. I have to say, Ouchie is better than like Pain ever was.
Yeah, Ouchie definitely just is a lot more intense about everything. The prosecution and the defense each has much to lose.
A haircut is hardly comparable to Ray's life.
Fair enough. Oh god. Oh no. So are you just voicing like half of the cast in this trial?
No, actually, You are going to be voicing Natsume.
Oh no.
Otherwise,
Oh,
yeah, it would
no.
be too much. It would be way too much.
Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court.
Chief Inspector Satoru Hasudaka, Imperial Police Bureau. I'm in disguise, obviously, so I can go undetected.
And I am, well, the next big thing in books. An author renowned throughout the capital. In fact, yes. Soon to be sold out. The satirical I Am a Cat, the sensational success by Soseki Natsume.
Oh my goodness.
Struggling student from the provinces, please. You needn't be in awe of me.
I needn't.
It's only natural that you feel nervous in my presence. But all of you, please, relax. Call me Soseki even.
Yes.
What on earth is Soseki-san doing here?
Tread carefully, Susato. The other fella knows you from your time in London, doesn't he? If he exposes you for who you really are, this will be over before it's begun.
Yes, of course, I know.
I mean, Hosonaga knows! Everyone knows!
Yeah, but Hosonaga is not as clever.
I presume Soseki-san wouldn't have forgotten about me. I could certainly never forget him. Although he does seem to have changed somewhat in the 6 months or so that's been since I last saw him.
Well, he's in Japan now.
As for Inspector Hosonaga, that amazing outfit is hard to believe. Do I have something on my face? Well, your glasses for one, although they don't seem to be helping you see. Thank goodness he hasn't recognized me either.
Oh, there we go.
Ah, I suppose it's this disguise, is it? I thought that appearing here in the clothes I was wearing at the time would make for a more faithful testimony. It is my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly. Well, I can appreciate why an Imperial Police Bureau detective might have been present. But what business did a writer such as yourself have been being at the scene, Soseki-san?
Ah, well, you see, I had been asked that day to give a lecture. On the morning of the incident, in the Imperial Yume University's Grand Lecture Hall, no less.
At Yume University?
After the lecture, I had a very pleasant conversation with a researcher from the Medical Science Department. The professor over there, in fact.
With Professor Mikotoba?
Yes, that's right. It was arranged by one of the newspapers. They wanted some story or other about 2 former students who studied in Great Britain. Of course, being a renowned author, the press never leaves me alone. They secretly spy snapshots, scribble stories, and scooper my privacy. As you can see, the conversation was written up in the newspaper here. Read it at your leisure, my provincial struggling student friend. I have plenty of copies.
Thank you very much. You practically threw the paper at me.
Anyway, following my interview with the professor.
Right, but what's it say?
Oh.
Nothing, it's a picture.
Ka-chow! He has a Wagahai's kitten, they never confiscated it.
Crap, I meant to click it again, not go back. Yeah, I guess he has a Wagahai kitten.
Wagahai.
A Wagahitten.
Wagahitten. The lady in question appeared and made a very unexpected announcement.
I should like to go with everyone to see the country's coast.
Those were her words.
Oh, you're a very good impressionist, Soseki-san.
Thank you very much. Hosonaga-san. As I explained before, Miss Brett was never taken into custody. She continued to work in my laboratory under strict surveillance, of course.
And Which adherents the university immediately contacted the government to seek guidance.
My voice just hates me. It's like, here's some nice voices to do.
And then you gotta go all the way up here.
I mean, I hope you have water bottle or something.
I
Glass
have
of water.
One can of not sponsored soda water.
A can of water. Got it.
Can of water.
And the response was, permit Miss Brett to go as long as a detective accompanies her.
That detective I am at liberty to divulge was me, Chief Inspector Satoru Wasanaga.
Thereby, the entire party departed cordially for the seaside, it seems.
It was extremely challenging to clear all other members of the public from the vicinity of the beach.
Oh no,
But
it started.
fortunately, I am at peak physical
God.
fitness at the moment, so
Peak physical fitness.
I was able to carry out my duty flawlessly.
Oh my, Inspector, you... Well, you do have something on your face now.
How unsightly. I do apologize.
Does that mean you went to the beach too, Father?
No. Fortunately, I had work to finish. But unfortunately, of course.
It seems similar-ish.
I'm asking
actually,
the chat.
it's better, but okay. I am
No,
the
yeah.
chat.
No! I meant that as my assistant, Ray was invited to take my place.
Hey, what is it? No weather. You went to the beach. Okay.
Of course, being a renowned author, I did not like to decline the invitation. Ah, but if only I never had seen that awful sight. Relentlessly wrecked by remorse and regret. Listen, I really like the reporter in the back.
Very well. I must now ask you to present your formal testimony to the court. You will give an account of all that you witnessed on your impromptu excursion to the coast.
Of course, Your Excellency.
Relentlessly wrecked by remorse and regret, I am.